Hello, I'm Charlotte Leisman. Welcome back to the Gothic Literary Society and welcome to Horror Dark Fantasy Friday. So today we are talking about a book that is categorized as horror. That book is Stephen King's The Institute. So this book was published fairly recently, perhaps in 2019 or 2020. The book features a very precocious and very intelligent 12-year-old boy named Luke. Luke is in the process of applying to a very prestigious school so that he's actually been invited to enroll in the school so that he can prepare for an early acceptance into MIT and Emerson. Yes, both universities simultaneously. So he is a very intelligent young boy, and he is in all other respects a fairly normal kid. He likes to play ball with his friends. He likes to play, I think, video games. He is a pretty nice kid, pretty good kid, and he is fairly witty and precocious, which makes him very interesting to read about. And what happens very early on in the book is he is kidnapped. So he is taken in the middle of the night. His family is murdered. That is not a secret. So he is kidnapped and taken to a facility in the woods of Maine, and this facility is known as the Institute. Luke himself is in many ways very normal, but of course, like most kids, he is very preoccupied with himself. And what happens when he gets to the Institute is he meets a whole number of other kids who are all very individual, very unique. And none of them are as intelligent as Luke is, but they all, like Luke, are either telekinetic or telepathic. So Luke is telekinetic. He can move objects with his mind. Early in the book, he doesn't really understand how this is happening. He doesn't really understand that he is directly causing it, and yet it is happening so often that he suspects that perhaps he has something to do with things spontaneously moving. And these other kids at the Institute are like Luke in that respect, or else they are telepathic. So by and large, the kids are one or the other, but not both. What becomes clear is that the Institute wants to harness the abilities of these children for their own purposes. So Luke is not used to really relating to kids on a very intimate level. So he has friends back home, or did before he was taken, but he was always so much more intelligent than they were. And King presents this in several different scenarios. For instance, when he goes to take his SAT test, he is in a room, granted with kids he doesn't know, but he is really not able to relate to them because he's so much brighter than they are, and he understands things so easily that he just really can't understand why they can't understand things easily. And they are a little daunted by him, of course, because it is obvious that he is so intellectually superior that they are not sure quite how to relate to him. And when he gets to the Institute, he begins to bond with the other children on a different level. So on a greater level than he's ever done before, or at least the book implies that much. And he has several close friends. And the one that I think is the most precious is Avery. So there's another little boy, Avery, and he and Luke end up forming a very, very close bond. Luke bonds closely with a couple other kids as well, but especially with Avery. And what happens is that the kids are one by one being removed from the front half of the Institute, as they have termed it, and are being taken to what they call the back half. So in the front half, the kids are being subjected to injections and testing, and then nobody knows what happens in the back half. When children are taken to the back half, they never return. So Luke quickly realizes that it's up to him, being the brightest child there, to devise a means of escape. And he needs to do so as quickly as possible because his friends' lives are potentially at stake. And the real question in the book is that, should Luke escape, will he run for his life or will he return for his friends? which is a very interesting question, especially for a child. That's the kind of question we normally expect for an adult, but not for a 12-year-old. So the antagonist. The antagonist in the book is really the Institute. So King establishes the idea that the Institute is not just this one localized facility, it's actually a global network, a large organization in which this one institute in the US, in Maine, is just one piece in a larger whole. There are some individuals at this institute who play very antagonistic roles against Luke and his friends. For instance, Mrs. Sigsbee and Zeke and some of the other nasty people who work there, the doctor and others. But it's obvious that these individuals are nothing more than pawns in the larger institute. So they can be destroyed and removed and replaced, and the institute will go on. So in that respect, the antagonist is really the larger institution and not the individual himself. So what is going on thematically? So if you've read Jessica Brody's book, Saves the Cat, Writes a Novel, she talks about the horror genre. And in the horror genre, there is always something called, or there should be, something called a secret sin. So essentially that is something in the main character's past or someone close to him or a larger organization or institution's past or present that is manifesting itself as the opposition against the main character and against sometimes the other characters in the book. So in this book, it is definitely the institution who has the secret sin, and that would be the desire for political and global political control. So essentially what the institute is trying to do is harness these children's telekinetic and telepathic abilities to control global events. So to sway the actions of various people around the world for or against other characters on the global arena, and by doing so to determine what will or will not happen. And of course, they don't care. The institution as a whole does not care if the children are used and destroyed. They are disposable, as are the employees of the institute. I think King is actually putting forth an interesting and thought-provoking question about how the world works as well. And I won't give too much away because I want to leave it to you to think about it as you read the book. But I'll throw out a few questions to consider that might guide you as I was looking at this and what maybe he was delving into beneath the surface. I asked myself the following 3 questions. So first of all, who do the children really represent? So at a plot level, obviously, they're just a bunch of kids who are being utilized for larger purposes. But who might these children actually represent in our everyday lives? And second of all, and in conjunction with that, what does the Institute really represent? So on a plot level, obviously, the Institute is nothing but this localized facility or even the larger global facility or organization. But think about it thematically. So perhaps what is King trying to say about how the world works? And in conjunction with who the children are, who you think they are, what might the Institute represent, and how is the Institute playing a role in the children's lives? And then lastly, consider what the children's actions at the end of the book actually means. So not at a plot level, of course. At a plot level, they're just trying to foil the antagonist. But at a thematic level, the children orchestrate some, I don't want to give it away, but it is a large-scale orchestrated incident that the children manage. I think King is trying to say something about what we should do as people. So in conjunction with thinking about who the children might be and what the Institute really is, think perhaps about the children's actions at the end of the book and perhaps how that might instruct our actions as people. So just some things to think about. So regardless, even if you just want to read this at the plot level, it is a very interesting book. It's a good read. I recommend it, and I hope you enjoy it. So that's all for this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. That way you'll be notified every time I release a new video. I post videos every Friday. So until next time, stay undead, my friends.